Guess where we're at? Yep, we're back at the place in the Venus Lighthouse, right before we have to go down the slide that will take us to the lift to where the final confrontation between us and Saturos and Menardi is going to take place. Yes, hey everybody, it's RRPG here, and welcome back to another episode of RRPG Let's Play with Golden Sun on the Game Boy Advance. In today's episode, this is the finale, or part 1 of the finale, where we're going to get through this game finally. And I felt that we got through this game at 100%, based on all the quests that we have done, and this game is going, or this place is going to prove itself to be the final confrontation. What do you mean prove itself? This is the place where the final confrontation between us and Saturos and Menardi is going to take place. But yes, we're going to be fighting off against these two today and making sure that they don't try to obtain what it is that they're trying to achieve. Okay, let's go ahead and get on with this episode that's already in progress, shall we? And as you can tell, Saturos and Menardi are here at the beacon, and they have a girl right over here, but it looks like this girl right over here is, in fact, Shiba. So yeah, this is the girl that Saturos and Menardi kidnapped in order to bring her to the Jupiter Lighthouse much later on. And Felix came out of nowhere, and he is telling Saturos and Menardi that he cannot leave Shiba here when something very bad could happen to her if Saturos and Menardi were to end up fighting against Isaac. Or else that's what it seems like. But yeah. Anyway. And this is probably the first part of the game where there is a hint that but Felix is not totally in league with Saturos and Menardi, where you can actually tell that maybe his alliance seems to be more of where he is a neutral character, or his alignment, that is. But yeah, so this is a strong indication that he's not totally antagonistic like Saturos and Menardi are. And it seems like they're still in big debate to try to either leaving Shiba here or to go with Felix. And Felix is saying that he's tending to take Shiba to the ship because he cannot let anything happen to her if whatever the possibilities may be if the lighthouse was lit. Felix is saying that he wants things to be safe, and Saturos and Menardi are telling him, don't even tell us what's best, and this is where more of their arrogant behavior takes place. Jeez, gosh. What a bunch of jerks. I mean, seriously, if there's anybody who's probably the biggest jerks in video gaming history, these guys definitely have to be the ones, because it just seems like they have no decency whatsoever to try to provoke their enemies, or to use any sort of smart measures to try to, taunt their enemies or whatever, or try to get an upper hand. I mean, that's something that you gotta have in video games, is you gotta have enemies that are really smart, and they don't try to crack whenever something immediately bad happens. But for Saturos and Menardi's case, that's totally different. It just seems like they're more of the joke-type characters where things don't even go their way. Alright, so we are now experiencing the whole fight between those four, and now, with Isaac's group, this seems like the perfect opportunity to where we can go try and rescue Shiba, as well as getting the elemental stars back from them. We make it back up here, and we have come to stop them. And look what your defiance has brought us, Felix. Oh, what the heck? Gosh, and now you're putting Felix as a scapegoat? And, to tell you the truth, Felix doesn't really know how to defend himself, because look at how strong these two Mars clan members are. And you can tell, and you'll tell why Felix is a pretty big weakling when you play, well, I'll keep that as secret, but yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to keep it as a secret anyway. In the next game, in The Lost Age, you actually do end up playing as Felix as the main protagonist. So, this is what I think I've hinted at this before, that both Golden Sun and Golden Sun The Lost Age are one big, huge story arc, where the first game is more about playing the heroes, while the other game is mostly playing from the antagonist point of view. So, yeah, the thing where we play with Felix throughout the whole game is based off the antagonist party where Saturos and Menardi was. So, yeah. Don't even yell at her, you jerks. We're not yelling, we just want a straight answer. Oh, yeah, right, you yelled at her. Quit trying to patronize them. For God's sakes. Anyway, the thing what they're doing is that the rod that is connected to Vesperia, which they are needing to activate the Jupiter Lighthouse, Sheba seems to think that we have it. But what we do have is the Shaman's Rod, which is the rod that connects to Vesperia. Sheba will be harmed. Do you agree? Will not be harmed. And it looks like Ivan is so forgiving to let his rod go to the hands of the enemy. Then you will give us the rod. Fine, fine, fine. We'll give you the rod. So we will no longer have the shaman rod on our side. Oh, to ensure your loyalty to us. Oh, God. Like I said, Saturos and Menardi, probably the biggest D-bags ever in video game. Okay, so... Wait a minute, what? Now release Sheba. Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? You know, when somebody says that you don't mean to hurt them, they usually mean that you're gonna let them go, but is that exactly what you're talking about? Is that you were not gonna let her go whatsoever? Oh my God. And they say that Sheba can't go back to Lalivero alone. So yeah. This is the point where we're getting ready to fight against Saturos and Menardi. And it's time to us to put them in their place. Oh yeah, we're not even stupid as you think. But yes, the first part of the final battle in this game begins. So we are fighting off against Saturos again, and this is the first time when we're fighting against Menardi officially in a real battle. Except for the first boss fight, which took place in the game, 3 years prior. But yes, we are now officially fighting both Saturos and Menardi in one battle where they are together. And as you can tell, they got some pretty good hit points and synergy points, as well as some attack, defense, agility, and luck. But there are some noticeable differences between the two characters. Unlike Saturos, where he has the only elemental power of fire, Menardi also has some elemental power of earth and water on her as well. Is it earth and water? Yeah, it's earth and water. So she has more elemental power than Saturos has. So, and it would make sense because Menardi is more of the mage type, while Saturos is more of the brute type. So yeah, she's going to be using a lot more magic on us than trying to use brute force. And when I took a look at the official stats of this character, Menardi, they said that her weapon is more of a staff, but if you look at it, it clearly looks like a scythe. Or, the one weapon that pretty much the Grim Reaper uses. Ew, Pyroclasm. Yeah, so that was a new ability that I don't think we have seen in the Golden Sun in this game whatsoever. Besides Freeze Prism, I don't think we have seen Pyroclasm as of yet. And there is a new ability that Menardi has that we still haven't seen, which is called Supernova. But I wonder if we're going to possibly see it, but it's kind of hard to tell. So yeah, just do what you do best, but make sure that your strength, defenses, and agility and hit points are still high enough, so that way you don't take a whole lot of damage from these guys. Even though you will take damage, but just make sure that your strength and defenses are still pretty darn good. And I did some grinding off screen before we went to the final battle because I figured that being under level 30 is not going to be enough to take down these guys. And I was lucky enough to take down Deadbeard under level 30, so that just goes to show you how lucky I was to defeat that boss at a really low level. I mean, it's probably one of those moments where if you're at an under-level character defeating a boss at a high level, that the only game where I noticed where you could actually do that properly in order to get a very special item near the end of the game would be Final Fantasy IX, because there is this thing where if you try to get to the final confrontation within 12 hours time, there is a point within the final dungeon in the game where you can actually find this item called Excalibur 2, which is Steiner's main weapon. And Excalibur 2 is basically an upgraded form of the Excalibur, but but Final Fantasy IX, it's clearly one of those games where you don't have to grind up as much as you want to. You can just constantly continue to fight your enemies as long as you have strong weapons and armor on you at all times. So it's like grinding is not an option, but increasing your strength and defenses in that game, that's what you need to have in order to get through the game, and you have to be smart with how you are going to defeat your enemies and all that. So yeah, I felt pretty fortunate enough to take down Deadbeard at level 27 for Isaac, so that was quite a feat, if I do say so myself. Also, one of the things I wanted to mention is that the music in this boss fight is pretty much the same when we were fighting off against Deadbeard. And what you could tell is that it's the actual boss fight theme for when you're fighting against both Saturos and Menardi. Now, in this boss fight, I don't think I've cleared up anything at all for when fighting off against these two bosses. Is that with Saturos being the strength type and Menardi being more of the magic type, I would recommend taking down the strong type first, because with the strong type out of the way, you can always focus on taking down the weaker character after that. It's like you're trying to take down the muscle first before you take down the rest of the defenses. Okay. So with Saturos down, we can finally focus all our attention on Menardi. And she has lower hit points than Saturos has. She only has 2,600 hit points, while Saturos had only 3,000. Okay, so let's continue to put the smackdown on this female of the Fire Clan from the north. And yeah, as you can tell, she's pretty much using strength increases in terms of resistance, strength, defense, agility. Well, no, not necessarily agility, but the first three that I mentioned. But don't let her try to stop you. Even though she is using impact a whole lot, we can still defeat her in this state. Very nice. Oh, we got Vine set to Isaac. Well, I guess that's Vine with me. Oh, God, I really need to stop. I really gotta stop mentioning that pun. I mean, I think it's quite enough already, to be honest. And besides, we're getting close to the end of the game, so I think that'll be the last time where we'll have to deal with Vine anyway whatsoever. Well, specifically this episode, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, we used Gaia Blade to unleash its howl to release Titan Blade, and it did over 300 hit point damage. And Menardi even used Wish. And we can use Break to return her strength to normal, so she won't even do it. She won't even attack us with really strong strength that she has on her right now. And to be honest, that's not really necessary, because with this attack, we officially defeated her. So yes, we have obtained 6,000 experience points and 78... Or, wait a minute. 7,800 coins? Shouldn't it have been 7,200 coins? Wait a minute, that can't be right. I just took a look at the official stats for the game. Or for them and what we get after we... after we take care of them. Oh my god, so looks like Felix does have his own agenda. So it looks like that Felix is going to continue on his quest to light the remaining beacons. And we still consider ourselves a friend to Felix because he is still a member of the Village of Vale. And he's still Jenna's older brother, so it makes sense to, you know, still think of him as a friend, even though they don't want to think of Isaac as a friend. But we'll be back on our feet as soon as we do this. Oh, wait, what? Okay, let's just take a moment to think about what happened. Saturos threw the elemental star on there, but none of the characters here even thought about trying to pickpocket the two main antagonists to see if they have the elemental stars on them. Wow. Just wow. Wait a minute. They said that if the... Wait a minute. Wait, that can't be right. Fire and Earth share a symbiotic relationship? That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, Venus is an Earth type of power, while Mars is a fire type of power. How is it that they can... I'm just extremely puzzled here. How is it that Earth and Fire share a symbiotic relationship to where the Venus Lighthouse can actually try to heal their properties? I'm sorry, I can't even ignore this. I mean, if somebody wants to explain to me this, then I just can't even put my finger on it. How is it that Earth and how is it that both Venus and Mars share a symbiotic relationship to where the power of the Venus Lighthouse can actually heal two members of the the Fire Clan from the north, or the Mars Clan to be exact? You know, this is just puzzling, but I think Camelot was actually coming up with something just completely out of the question, and more just, you know, one of those things to where they needed something to fix themselves or try to come up with an unusual plot twist. Anyway, they're fusing, so they are forming into a really strong boss. And yes, folks, this is the final boss in the entire game. Feast your eyes on the Fusion Dragon, which is basically a fusion between Saturos and Menardi. And it has some pretty high stats, but the main point of this boss fight, you know, for it being the final boss, is that you don't get jack squat after you defeat it. So, with Saturos and Menardi fusing as dragons in this battle, it is very safe to assume that the genetics of Saturos and Menardi look like that of lizards or some type of reptile skin, but yeah, it would make sense. So it would be no wonder why they would become, you know, it's no wonder why they would become this two-headed dragon when you're fighting off against them. But how is it the final boss in the Lost Age is a bit more intricate than the Fusion Dragon? I'm kind of puzzled. But anyway, this guy is pretty strong like Deadbeard, but he's not that threatening as Deadbeard except for his outer space move, so you're going to want to be careful when he uses that. As long as you continue to use the abilities of Granite and Flash, the gene that can create a protective barrier around your characters, then you should be alright. But yeah, with 5,000 hit points, this is probably going to take as long when we fought off against Deadbeard, which seems to be the case. But yeah, this guy is not going to pull any punches, and I think this guy even attacks 2 times per turn. So you're going to want to use ground on him as much as you want, or as much as you like. But also make sure you use Luff with Ivan, so that way you can seal the foe's synergy. And continue to increase your strength and defenses if you can, but it probably won't even make that much of a difference since the Fusion Dragon pretty much has the ability of Break, to where it can actually return your strength and defenses to normal for your characters. Okay, so let's continue on where we are, and I think this is pretty safe to assume that we can use the level 4 summons for every character, but I still would recommend having Mia constantly heal your party members as much as possible. And also Isaac if you can, but just mainly focus Isaac on being the strong type when fighting off against this guy. But for the most part, I think we pretty much got this. Unless if this does... I just hope this doesn't take too long. And he used outer space again! And I think Ivan's gonna die right here. Oh, no. No, he doesn't. Okay, that's good to know. But, my God! Seriously! I thought we'd finally taken care of you. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we're gonna be using any of Mia's Mercury Gene in this battle. Because we need her to heal our party members at all times. And it would make sense, too, so... I think we'll just use Spritz this once. No. We were using some Mercury type genes, so my bad. I got so caught up with talking that I kind of forgot what was all going on at the moment. Sorry, didn't mean to lose my train of thought. It's just I was talking a whole lot. Okay, now something that I wanted to mention before. Not before, but while we're going on through this boss fight. I have a new Let's Play series over at Necessary Gaming that's about to start, that I'm about to send over to them, so that way they can air the episode whenever they can. And that game that I'm actually doing a Let's Play on, well, since I'm doing a Let's Play of Skyward Sword this Monday, since I'm starting on it this Monday, I decided that I'm going to be doing the game A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo for Necessary Gaming. Because I've stuck with Bayonetta for about a month and a half, so I might as well go ahead and do something that's retro for once. And even Bind has no effect on the Fusion Dragon, so we have to use Luff by all means. But yeah, I decided I'm going to be doing A Link to the Past. It's going to be a 100% walkthrough, so I'm going to be getting everything at 100%. That means all the power-ups, all the items, all the equipment, all the heart pieces, even the gold sword, everything. Or the golden master sword, that is. Yes, I'm going to be getting everything in that game. 100%. And that should prove to be really fun. And we got some deadly poison on both Garrett and Ivan, which is not good. And to tell you the truth, I've been looking forward to wanting to do Zelda Let's Plays for quite a while, since, you know, I go by the name RRPG, and I like role-playing games, and I know that The Legend of Zelda is mostly classified as an adventure role-playing game, or a hack-and-slash adventure role-playing game, but yeah, I've been wanting to get on that whenever I could. Dragon Driver? What's this do? Oh god. Oh god. Mia, you better heal us. Quick as possible. Oh, wait a minute. Ouch. That's all I gotta say. So, I think Garrett, I think this is a perfect time where you need to use Flash. Like, quickly. And it would make sense to do it right now, and we might as well go ahead and increase our stats once again, so that way we have some strong defenses and strength. So yeah, it's pretty much a rinse and repeat process that we're doing in this boss fight. The final boss fight, that is. One thing I gotta mention though, this boss fight has some pretty awesome music, much so when we were fighting off against Deadbeard and Saturos and Menardi, with the boss fight music that we were hearing in this game. I gotta give props to Motoi Sakuraba right now. It's really good stuff to hear in this game. Oh, and speaking of music from Motoi Sakuraba, I actually did get my hands on Tales of the Abyss for the 3DS. Finally. And I gotta say, I think the game moves along... I think the game progresses a lot more smoothly than the PS2 version. And the reason why I think that is because every time when you go to a new screen, or every time when you finish off with a battle, you will end up, you will end up going to the next screen in about a second or two. So it improves the load times that the PS2 version suffered. And I think that's actually a really good thing, because I was really getting irked with the PS2 version with all the load times and such. So I think the 3DS version really has done itself a lot better. But that doesn't mean it's a perfect game at all. One of the things that I actually kind of complain about is that even though the game is essentially a port, and with some things that have been fixed up, why did they not even put any effort to possibly doing like a redub, or possibly doing something like maybe even dubbing the skits in the game? I mean, having a game as a direct port with no differences whatsoever, where the only difference in that game is in the inclusion of the touchscreen controls if you want to use specific arts in battle, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's going to differentiate itself when you're playing the game when comparing it to the PS2 version original. So yeah, there's really nothing else that's in comparison that you can actually talk about that could prove itself to be either superior or inferior to the PS2 version. So yeah, that's my only gripe with and with this game being a direct port and hoping that it could be a remake, you might think that there could have been some more content for a handheld, but evidently that's not the case. But from what I played, Tales of the Abyss, I think it's definitely a really good 3DS title, and I've heard that sales for the game in North America has been going on very well, and not to mention that pre-orders for Tales of Graces F skyrocketed on the day when Tales of the Abyss released, and it just goes to show you that North America really does have a strong liking for the Tales series in this region, and for the West in general. So I think that was a really strong endorsement to see that coming from the US audience. And trust me, I think the time for JRPGs has come back once again. I mean, just think about it. We're getting Xenoblade Chronicles, and I really hate to think that, and I really hate to see us not get The Last Story or Pandora's Tower. And I think that's possibly going to be the case before the Wii U releases, but we'll have to see. Anyway, so we are getting close to the final leg of this battle, it seems like. So with this set of attacks, I think we will finally finish off this fight once and for all. Hopefully. And I think I'm going to lie it down to Ivan to summon Thor. Alright. Are we going to defeat it? Yes, we do.